Imagine you are sitting in a small crowded room in an ancient port city. Oil lamps flicker along the walls, merchants shout in the streets outside, and in the middle of the gathering, someone slowly unrolls a new scroll. This scroll is a letter from a man named John, and it contains vivid visions full of beasts, angels, and a final clash between good and evil. As the reader reaches the middle of the scroll, a strange line appears. It speaks of a beast, a number, and a challenge. Here is wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. The room goes quiet. People lean in closer. They know this is not random. To understand why this number felt so electric in the first century, we have to step into their way of thinking about numbers. For us, numbers mostly belong to bank apps, math class, or the calories on a menu. In the ancient world of the Bible, numbers were tools of memory, symbols of patterns, and sometimes even small pieces of art. 7 signaled completion and rest, like the 7 days of creation. 12 pointed to tribes and foundations, like the 12 tribes of Israel and the 12 apostles. 40 echoed stories of testing and transition in the wilderness. Numbers carried stories inside them. Now, Revelation is a kind of ancient Jewish apocalypse, a style of writing that uses visions, symbols, and dramatic images to pull back the curtain on what is really happening in the world. The author is not just listing predictions. He is painting pictures that invite careful attention. So when he writes that the beast has a number, and that wise people should calculate it, ancient listeners would not shrug. They would sharpen their mental pencils. Here is where another ancient habit becomes important. In Hebrew and Greek, the letters of the alphabet also functioned as numbers. Imagine a world where your name is not only sound and meaning but also a sum. Scribes could add up the letters of a word and arrive at a total. This practice is sometimes called number symbolism, and it allowed writers to hide names in plain sight. You could describe a powerful figure, but instead of writing the name, you could write its total value and simply call it a number. So when people in that crowded room heard 666, many of them likely tried to connect the dots. Which famous name in their world adds up to this number? Which ruler, which emperor, which symbol of crushing power is being hinted at? Today, many scholars think the author may be encoding the name of a Roman emperor. Others see the number as a literary symbol, a kind of 666 that falls short of the fullness suggested by 7. Either way, the key point is that John is not inventing a spooky code just to frighten future readers. He is using the tools of his own culture to speak about very real experiences of oppression and loyalty in his own time. There is another layer to this mystery number. In Revelation, the beast represents a system of power that demands absolute allegiance and shapes people into its own image. The number is described as something connected to the hand and the forehead, the spaces of action and thought. Instead of asking who will have a hidden chip or a secret mark, the vision pushes a deeper question. Whose story shapes your imagination? Which kingdom guides your decisions, your work, and your desires? The number of the beast is less about a future barcode, and more about the very old pattern of humans building empires that act like beasts rather than like caretakers of creation. This theme reaches back into the larger story of the Bible. In Genesis, humans are called to rule the earth as images of God, reflecting his character into the world. Later, in the book of Daniel, violent empires are described as wild animals that devour and trample. Revelation gathers all of that imagery into one final collage. The beast is what happens when human rule goes wrong on a grand scale. 666 becomes a way of saying that this kind of power looks impressive and total, but it is still incomplete, still twisted, still short of the true picture of humanity. So what do we do with this mysterious number today? We can chase endless theories about credit cards, computer chips, or the latest technology, and the mystery will stay flat and shallow. Or we can step back and read it through the eyes of those first listeners. They heard a challenge to recognize the empire that shaped their world, and to decide where their deepest loyalty lay. The number of the beast, the number of a man, is not inviting us to panic. It is inviting us to discern the kind of humans we are becoming, and the kind of powers we quietly serve. In the end, the mystery of 666 does not exist to lock us in fear. It exists to train our eyes. When we see systems that use fear, violence, or greed to control people, Revelation would say that we are watching the beast at work. The real question is not whether you can solve a mathematical puzzle. The real question is whether your heart, your mind, and your actions are being shaped by beastly stories or by a different kind of kingdom. That is a mystery worth wrestling with long after the number itself fades from the screen.